Now we're looking at everything on a global scale, and that really changes the game, because YouTube isn't just used by people in the United States. It's used all over the world. And if you ask me, that makes it a commons, like the environment. It's something that we're all responsible to maintain. But look, the difference between corporations and governments is becoming increasingly obsolete, and you can see this in all kinds of ways. People have remarked about how Bill Gates' personal fortune is larger than the gross domestic product of some small countries. Well, that really says something. It really there's a lesson to be learned from that. And when you're talking about a corporation like Google that has deep ties to the NSA, deep ties to the CIA, deep ties to the State Department, okay, they might as well be a branch of fucking government. They're working hand in glove with the United States government to censor political speech over here. They're working hand in glove with the Chinese government to censor political speech over there. They like I said in my video that you're replying to in the first place, they've been condemned by numerous non-governmental organizations like Amnesty International, like Reporters Without Borders, like Human Rights Watch, for censorship and human rights violations, and that really says something. Now, I am not going to be trapped by a false dichotomy between corporate and government, between private sector and public sector, that leaves me stuck in the middle. Because that's what's going on here. You know, Governor Jesse Ventura famously remarked that mainstream politics in the United States is like professional wrestling, because when the cameras are on, the Democrats and Republicans pretend that they hate one another, but behind closed doors, they're the best of friends. Well, it goes a little deeper than that. The same thing can be said of the false dichotomy between the public sector and the private sector. When the cameras are on, they pretend like they hate one another, but behind closed doors, they're the best of friends. And they're playing good cop, bad cop with us. Or as the British call it, Mutt and Jeff. They're having a fake fight that leaves us stuck in the middle. And it's almost like a schoolyard game of keep away between corporate America and the U.S. government with our rights. It's like the bully that grabs the hat off your head, and then the two bullies keep throwing the hat back and forth to each other, and you're running between them, trying to get your hat back. That hat is our individual liberties, our civil liberties, okay? And the two bullies are corporate America and the United States government, okay? Or if you want to widen the analogy out, corporations in general and governments in general, because we're not just talking about the U.S. anymore. And we're caught in the middle of this. But no matter which side you pick, your rights are not going to be safe. And it's so crucial to understand this. And you know, it's definitely something George Orwell understood when he said that the wars are against the people. The wars are waged by governments against the people. You know, you can see things like this clearly in the case of the WikiLeaks, the Bradley Manning case, when Julian Assange could not get political asylum anywhere. There was no world government that was willing to defend what he did, even despite the fact that the U.S. State Department documents that he released showed wrongdoings by the U.S. against those governments, some of those very same governments that condemned what he was doing. And you'd say, well, if they got to get a peek into what the State Department was plotting against their government, then how come they wouldn't defend Bradley Manning's actions and defend Julian Assange of WikiLeaks? Well, the answer to that question is a very simple one. The reason they weren't willing to step up and defend that is because they realized, hey, if the U.S. government and their State Department cannot protect their secrets, then how long is it going to be before the people that I'm trying to suppress and control get a hold on my secrets? So you can see that the governments of the world are in confederacy against us. The corporations of the world, the governments of the world, they're all in confederacy against us. The global intelligence community, look at who makes it up. It's not just governments anymore. It's not just it's not just MI5 and or is it MI6, MI5? I can't remember. But the point is, it's not just the CIA and the FBI. It's not just Mossad. It's Google now. It's Verizon now. That's the global intelligence community, okay? And we're the ones caught in the middle. We are the ones caught in the middle, and if we don't start defending our rights, we're not going to have any left. It's crucial that you understand that. Now, Russ, you said that, you know, if you don't like the way YouTube is treating you, just go somewhere else. Just pick a different website. Well, I don't want to pick a different website, okay? Because, for one thing, I don't know how long you've been here on YouTube, but I'm grandfathered in. I'm a legacy user. I was here on YouTube building this place into what it is now before Google waltzed in with their millions of dollars and bought it out from under me, and now they're trying to kick me out. Okay, so I'm like the auto worker who's been working for years building up the company, causing them to make their profit that the shareholders benefit from. But then when my job becomes inconvenient to their bottom line, they're going to close the plant and lay me off. In other words, I work to foster their success, but then I don't get to reap the benefits of that success. It's the same old story where costs are socialized, but profits are privatized. Okay? And it's fucking ridiculous. I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to just leave. I'm not going to just start playing this shell game and chasing my freedom from one website to another. And then every time one of these websites becomes too big and gets too big for their britches, to use your terms, well, then we got to chase our freedom somewhere else and go crawl under a rock on Daily Motion. Fuck that. To quote Captain Picard, the line must be drawn here, this far and no further. Seriously, I mean, I'm not going to chase my freedom around. It's this. I fucking helped to build YouTube into what it is. I am a stakeholder, and I don't give a fuck about shareholders. I helped to make this place what it is. I was here defining what YouTube was before Google came along and bought it. Now, you want to say that YouTube is not too big to fail. Well, it really kind of fucking is. We have an infrastructure here, a global communications infrastructure that works, and it's already done so much good. If I look out my door in the next 5 minutes and I see a bunch of NOPD cops beating up somebody, within the next 10 minutes, you can bet your ass that there will be a video of that incident on YouTube, and they won't be able to lie about it when they get to court. The world got to watch as the Egyptian protests happened on YouTube. YouTube has done so much fucking good. It's the way that we hold power accountable. It's the way that we keep governments honest. It's the way that we keep corporations honest. And we need this infrastructure. It is fucking vital to global democracy. It's fucking vital to everything that we need. And we can't just let it go. We can't just hand it over and say, oh, that's their private corporation. They can do whatever the fuck they want with it. It's not government censoring you. It's corporation censoring you. Well, if you examine the thing in itself, a corporation really is no different from a government. It's a large, highly organized in-group that's highly funded. They're primarily concerned with maintenance of themselves. In other words, it wants to keep itself going at the expense of everybody else. You know, fuck everybody else. Fuck your free speech. It's the collective free speech of Citizens United that matters. Fuck your free speech. It's the collective free speech of Google, YouTube that matters. Well, I don't buy that. I'm never going to start looking at the world that way. You know, I consider that we're moving into an era where national sovereignty is going to be increasingly meaningless, where the difference between government power and corporate power, if there ever was one to begin with, is also going to become increasingly meaningless, and where the citizens of the world, the most vast silent majority that there is, are going to start to come together and figure out these guys are all in confederacy against our individual rights. They're all in confederacy against our individual freedoms, and that means that we all need to be in confederacy against them. So that's my fiery rhetoric for today. And if you and by the way, Russ, thanks for the video. I'm glad you recorded that one for me. This has been The Smooth Terrorist, and if you enjoyed this video, then download it, re-upload it, mirror it, parody it, make it your own, because the corporate/government fucks at YouTube cannot censor me unless you let them. Keep it smooth.